10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. We're thankful that you're here with us on this Monday, April the 21st, Easter Monday. And hopefully everybody had a weekend that they were able to celebrate the Easter season with friends, with family, with those that they care about. Or if they were not able to do that, that they were able to reflect and enjoy the season for what it is. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. We're getting off to a little bit of a late start this morning, but feeling a little bit serene today, a little bit zen, a little bit just kind of had a really great weekend myself. So we're just going to have a great show today, and that's all there is to it. And glad that everyone is able to be with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM as usual on the radio, terrestrial radio. We're also streaming live on the internet at cklu.ca. You just have to click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. Or you can download the same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime, on your favorite device. And so looking to have a really good show today. I'm looking for some things that I want to be able to play, and hopefully I'm able to find it. There's just so much going on in the last couple of days that, the debates happened on Friday, and I'm sure all y'all that are interested in politics have had an opportunity to look at those debates, to decide for yourself, were there anything that any of the candidates said that influenced you in any way, shape, or form to help you decide to who you're going to vote for, or, have you already had your mind made up? That's what it kind of seems like to me, is people already have their minds made up and very few people are going to be swayed. But that's just me. I mean, you can show the same thing to two different people and they'll see two different things. And I'm not sure how that happens. But I guess it's just the lenses that we look, our world view kind of thing. We see the world through our own world view, and nothing much people can do to sway that view. But I mean, it is what it is, and we're going to have an election in a week, and who knows when we'll get the results. The way elections go these days, maybe it'll take a few days. We're not too sure, but we will, we'll have the results at some point to know who won and why, or why they tell us who won. I've been hearing some weird things about some of the situations in some of the polling. I heard this morning there was a lady talking about her friend who went to the polls. She's been registered since she's 18 and she's like in her 30s now. And they said, well, she's not registered. And then she went to vote and she had to register again. Said she wasn't registered. She had to register right then and there. And then they gave her a blank piece of paper to write the candidate's name down on it. So where have you ever heard anything like that? And then in Pierre Poilievre's riding, there's something like 90 some people on the ballot. And the ballot is like a scroll. And So that's weird. Like, why are there 90 some candidates in Pierre Poilievre's riding? No other riding in Canada, just his. So nothing suspicious or fishy there. And they say that when they go to put the ballot through the machines to count it, it might not even be able to count it because the paper's so big. So many things going on. This will be an interesting week, I guess, talking about the election. And I know during the debates, there was some weird stuff going on. Afterwards, there's supposed to be a scrum with reporters, and then someone from the Hill went on a big rant about why independent media were allowed at the scrum, even going as far as to say he was from, this reporter who was from the Hill, saying, I'm from Rebel News. So that way that would be a soundbite. And actually, some of my friends who are pretty much into, that's what they do for a living is media. They bought it. They thought that this particular outburst was from someone from Rebel News, but it was from someone from the Hill who was just on a big rant and said, I'm from Rebel News, and then that way the bite went out to those that didn't look into it anymore. And they thought Rebel News went on a big rant and stopped the scrum from happening after the debates. Anyways, weird stuff. So we're going to have a show today. We're going to talk as much as we can about things going on in our neighborhoods, in our community, our city. Some sad news coming out of our city. I just wish there was brighter news. We'll talk about Sudbury Star did an article on how the opioids are affecting our young people. It's a major cause of death now amongst our young people, opioids. And there's a new app out that can help you plan for your death. And then there's a new program coming at Laurentian University to assist people through their dying process. So it seems to be a theme of the show. Hopefully it's not the theme of the week going along with our elections that are coming up, that it's the death of our country, because we're kind of on the verge. We're on the verge. It's a very important election. So anyways, with all of that, we're also streaming live on facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channels, the pages, and mainly comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. And the show will be found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News. So make sure, if you're not already, following us on X, to do so. And YouTube as well. Make sure to subscribe, because looks like, when people are looking at our social media footprint, that we don't have very many viewers on YouTube or followers on Twitter, formerly Twitter, now X. But that's just because most people in our demographic aren't using, they use YouTube, but they'll watch us mostly on Facebook. So if you have a YouTube account, make sure to subscribe. It really does just help, even in the optics of looking at our channel and people taking it seriously. So grateful for everybody being on. We'll dive right in with a little bit of weather. We'll be back with news, headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And weather brought to you by Voyager Tire. They can be found at the intersection of Kingsway, Falconbridge, 2nd Avenue. Drop in, let them know that we sent you, and you'll get a 10% discount on already discounted name brand tires. Currently, it is 4 degrees. And it feels like 4 degrees. It's cloudy. High today will be 6 with a chance of, sorry, that's not today. The high today will be, what are we going to be today? High of 8. Yes, there's going to be a risk of thunderstorm late this morning. There could be 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. Tonight, periods of rain. Local amount 5 millimeters. Winds gusting up to 50 kilometers per hour. Tuesday, periods of rain mixed with snow ending in the morning. Then cloudy with a 40% chance of rain showers. Wind gusting up to 40 kilometers per hour with a high of 6. And then Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, high of 10. A 30% chance of showers on Thursday, high of 15. 60% chance of showers on Friday with a high of 12. Very wet week, looks like it's shaping up to be. And then Saturday, mix of sun and cloud with a high of 11. And Sunday, high of 12 and sunny. We hope that that will be true. Look at your satellite taken as of 4:30 a.m. shows all of the precipitation activity and all of the clouds. It's just very cloudy with a lot of precipitation all over the area, all the way from James Bay all the way down to Toronto, Manitoba, through half of Quebec. So that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca and Voyager Tire. Visit them online at voyagertire.com or go on in, let them know you sent you, and you'll get a 10% discount. We'll be back with news headlines and your comments right after this. Okay, thanks for sticking around. Hopefully everyone's having a good morning this Monday, April the 21st. Good morning, Nancy on YouTube, Nana as well. Blessings to all, exclamation point. Good morning from Barry, everyone. Hand clap emoji, that is Marianne. And liked and shared as usual. Judy, good morning to you. And Hazel, good morning. Happy Easter Monday. And Marianne, happy Easter Monday as well. And Belinda, good morning. You're both the gardener and the garden. Tend to yourself wisely. Triple heart emoji. Good morning, Belinda. Thanks for being on, and hope you had a wonderful Easter weekend. But yeah, we are the gardener and the garden. That is a really good concept to think about, because the garden is where our thoughts and emotions and everything that we are, seeds are planted and they could grow. Sometimes there's really good fruitful things that grow in our garden, whether it be our mind or our hearts. And sometimes weeds get in there, and you gotta tend to the weeds and get them out of there, meaning bad thoughts or bad emotions. So it's a really good analogy, ourselves as a garden, and we are the gardener, to make sure that our thoughts are positive, our heart is in the right place. We can, and we have the ability to make the difference in our own lives. We are the ones in control of our minds and in our hearts. So thank you very much for that, Belinda. Always a great way to start the day. Much appreciated. Northern Hillbilly, good morning, people. Good morning to you as well. Hazel, hate to say it, but of children saved today. Oh, Red Shoe Club. Okay, well, that's a deep dive. Okay. And I'll let that be to those that have ears to hear, let's say, right? And they know exactly what you're talking about there. So thank you very much for that, Hazel. And Larry, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a beautiful Easter, and I hope the same to you. Denise, good morning, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy. Like and share. Thank you very much, Denise. Much appreciated. And the Pope had passed away. Oh, sorry. The Pope has passed away. Islam, the religion of peace, is rising. Really? Are you saying that as for sure? Because I haven't heard that. I heard the vice president went to visit the Pope a couple days ago, I believe. He wasn't feeling well, and they exchanged things and had a meeting. Couldn't watch the garbage liars, Mad Max, PPC for me. That's Northern Hillbilly talking about the debates that just took place on Friday. And Belinda says, been watching belligerent behavior of some of the Liberal voters. It has gone viral. An elderly man in Brampton. It's everywhere. Okay, so if you want to look at the viral video of the elderly man in Brampton, Liberal voters. Yeah, it's interesting that people have to resort to anything but just being civil and respectful. You would think that would be the go-to default of people in Canada, but we're not all on that same page, I don't believe. So Larry says they've been here. Islam terrorizing Canada. They could go back home for all I care. That's Larry. Yeah, I'm watching a few videos on Islam, period, and their influence in the world. And it's pretty broad. They've been kind of spreading out and planting, if we want to stick to the garden theme, planting themselves in a lot of the Western countries, right? And we're going to see what happens from that, of large Islamic populations living in Western society. There's a conflict of ideology in a lot of ways there, and we'll see what ends up happening with that. Any of the Muslim people that I know are good people, and I've always gotten along, but I've never lived in a country that's been dominated politically or culturally by the religion that they belong to. But personally, which I feel is the truth for most people, when you meet the people, most people are good no matter what. But when you get, people together collectively and culturally, sometimes things take on a whole other flavor. So Marianne says, how does 95 people get in on one ballot? That's true. How does that happen? That's in Pierre Poilievre's riding. So obviously, it looks like a tactic to make the uneducated voter just not know who to vote for. There's so many people, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. This world is very weird. Denise says, had also heard that the Liberal voters are getting double cards. Okay. That's interesting. Are you a Liberal voter getting a double card? You can send us an email at sudburynews@gmail.com or message us and let us know, hey, I got 2 cards this year for some reason. Let us know. The Pope has passed away today. Well, I guess breaking news. Breaking news. That is pretty epic, actually, if you think of it. Yeah, we live in interesting times. If you're interested in different prophecies, there's many prophecies about how many popes there are going to be, and this particular pope, is pretty significant after he passes away in terms of a lot of these, I guess, Catholic prophecies about how many popes there's going to be before things hit the fan. So that's something, if you're interested in, you can look into. Okay, well, that's big news. Good morning, Sudbury from Niagara. This is Betty. Good morning to you. Yes, they had pencil when I went also. My paper was, my pen and purse. Had pencil when I went, also had pen and purse. The young fellow. Okay, so I'm not able to really read. My eyes are bad to begin with. Usually I can just kind of decipher. I know it's hard when we're typing. Sounds like you I'm not really sure what you're saying. You went to vote and they gave you a pencil, but you had a pen in your purse and something about a young man with the pencil. So anyways, if you wanted to kind of elaborate on that, feel free. And I apologize for not being able to. Yeah, again, my eyes are not the greatest this morning. Saw that also, honestly, no voting should happen outside of Canada, especially if they've moved and they're not paying taxes here. That's true. So many things. I really do feel voting should just be on one day. It just needs to be in person. I mean that opens up all kinds of people going, well, yeah, but everyone's got to vote, blah, blah, blah. I just think it needs to be on one day. You got to get there and do it. And it needs to be on paper. It needs to be counted in the day that the voting takes place and it's done. You know, less room for shenanigans. You need to take away all these things that could lead to people losing confidence in our voting system. So whatever you're going to do that's going to bring down the confidence of Canadians in their voting system, you get rid of it. So let's just say that. So whatever people are satisfied and they're confident that the voting is done above board and you cast your vote and it's counted and there's no funny business going on, I'm all for that. So whatever that means, that's what I'm for. Okay, Northern Hillbilly, don't matter, SHTF, no matter who wins. And a lot of people share your point of view as well. Good morning, Sudbury. Good morning, Monique. Thanks for being with us. Smiley emoji pack. Good morning, folks. Peace sign. That is a direct result of city councilors turning their eyes to what is happening in the city. They should all be proud of themselves. Sad. How the heck do they sleep at night? And we're talking about the opioid crisis and so many young people dying. And good morning, Liette. Good morning from Collingwood. And Rick, good morning to you with all of these emojis. Hand clapping, Canadian flags, prayers, hearts. Larry says, everybody should be auditing their city to see where the money is going and how they're spending taxpayers' money. That is 1,000,000% true. There should be third-party auditors auditing all of our cities. Evelyn, good morning. Sudbury and District, good morning to you. Lee's, good morning. Or Lee, sorry. Lee, you're all for Doge Canada, which I am also for. Accountability, transparency. And good morning to you, Trevor. You got your usual sword, shield, Canada flag, and your morning cup of choice there. Good morning to you. You're wondering when the mainstream media will finally get to the segment in the script where they can reveal the shocking news about SARS-CoV-2, partially originated from the National Microbiology Laboratory in Winnipeg, Canada. What about how the first super spreader event was held in 2019 Military World Games in China, right? And you guessed it, Wuhan. That's where it was, where the infected personnel, they traveled back home to Canada or their respective countries and allowed quote unquote cases to propagate before implementing mass PCR testing of a asymptomatic population. Maybe they'll save the tidbit for the prequel. I'll be back Wednesday with more on this. Right on. You're like a reporter in the field, kind of like reporting from, wherever, and we'll have more an update for you later. Thanks a lot for that, Trevor. Much appreciated. And Larry says, yeah, he passed away yesterday. Okay, the Pope passed away. Where was I? I guess I was watching the game last night And meanwhile, this big news came out, and usually I'm all over the news in the morning, nothing on any of our local news outlets as far as oh yeah, there you go. I just had to go down a little bit further. Sorry about that, guys. They're saying on Facebook that Vance went to kill the Pope. OMG, they're going crazy. Sure, yeah, Vance killed the Pope. There it is, right from the Sudbury.com. Pope Francis dies at age 88. Francis, the firstborn Latin American pontiff, made his last appearance on Easter Sunday at the Vatican. So that would have been the day of his death. Okay. Okay, so yeah, everybody is saying the Pope definitely has passed away. The Jesuit Pope, according to Northern Hillbilly, gone to the light. Hazel says the Red Shoe Club is shoes made of human skin. Yes. The Pope wore them, and he passed away earlier this morning. Okay, that's something for people to look into. And again, we don't shy away from anything on this show, but at the same time, I'll always encourage people to go and do their own studying of things, and we're not going to not say something unless it's criminal or going to put somebody down in a way that be mean to somebody, things like that. Everything's open. And good morning, Miles. Thanks for being on. Also saying the Pope has passed away, and Belinda. Okay. So Tammy, good morning to you. Are the beer stores open today? Now that's the important question. That's what we're wondering. Are the beer stores open today? Right? Well, do a quick Google search. You should be able to tell. Brewers Retail. No, it's not called that anymore. It's called the Beer Store. Beer Store hours. See if that's open today. Larry says they are cowards coming to Canada and creating problems here in our country, our beautiful Canada that once was, no more. And you're talking about the Islamic people or people from Islam. Okay. So he passed away at 7:30 Easter Monday, the Pope. So Northern Hillbilly is saying, who is Albert Pike? He predicted what's coming. Definitely Albert Pike. If we're talking about looking into red shoes or Albert Pike, these are very deep subjects we're talking about here, just from those two subjects alone. And wow, I can't believe, right? First thing in the morning, it's a big dose of heavy content. But for those that want to know, inquiring minds that want to know really what's happening in our world, you can research those two subjects. Okay, so we're grateful for everybody filling us in about the Pope and that he had indeed passed away. So we're going to just have to move on here with, I guess that's our first headline of the day. And we appreciate everybody and letting me know that, yeah. And I just had to scroll down a little further in our Sudbury.news news aggregator where we get our news from. And I just thought, well, I have my 3 stories for the day because they're all related. Here you have Laurentian University. They're offering an end-of-life doula micro-credential program. It's changed the way that I think about death. It's given me the tools to help others do the same, says graduate of the program. Right? And that goes in line with this new app that just came out, Sudbury.com. So where did that other article come from? That was Sudbury.com as well. New app to help people plan for the day they die. Planning your exit strategy for life can be stressful. But a new end-of-life planning app called Exit is helping people destigmatize death and ease access to information when the unfortunate happens. It's a conversation often overlooked until it's too late. 62% of Canadians don't have a will, and 1/3 of Canadians die in the hospital without a directive in place. As an end-of-life doula, Joy Werda told Sudbury.com that through her work, she knew how to die well, but wasn't sure how to help others get there. But the Canadian College Research and Development Initiative offered her a solution to her problem. With the hope of getting people to start talking about death at a younger age, putting control back in their hands at the end of their lives, Werda gathered a team of like-minded individuals and jumped at the opportunity to build an end-of-life app. Exit is a digital vault, secure online storage system that provides easy access of information and resources and is frequently updated based on user feedback. It also offers features such as a legacy video where users can securely upload and store video of their loved ones to watch once they've died. So it's kind of like planning your own funeral on an app. And basically all the information will be there when you die, including videos and photos and probably songs that you'd want to be played for people when you pass on. With funding from the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada, 4 Cambrian students led by research engineer Cheek Mega. Sorry for pronouncing your name improperly if I indeed did so. I apologize for that. Spent the last 2 years building the prototype of the app. And then on March 13th, Exit hit the App Store on Google and had recently been downloaded hundreds of times. So that's a Sudbury app from people here in Sudbury. So congratulations to Joy and the team that put this app together. I mean, there's value in that for sure. I could see even myself wanting to, I've thought of that very same thing myself, that people are just not ready when it comes time. There's so many things, and then it lands on the shoulders of other people, right, to deal with. But I guess as the theme of our show is, in fact, death, the Sudbury Star story for today, they have a newsletter, right? They send it out at about 7 a.m. every morning. Drug overdose, now top killer among young Sudburyans. Greater Sudbury is marking a somber milestone. Overdose has become the top killer. According to data provided by Health Sciences North to City Council this week, the emergency room visits from those who are considered homeless has spiked by 135% over the past 5 years. That represents nearly 2,000 visits to the emergency department by 521 individuals with no fixed address. Overdose is now the leading cause of death in people under 49. In our region, Mayor Paul Lefebvre told the Sudbury Star following a special meeting earlier this week, the city itself has committed $50 million towards homelessness prevention, shelter spaces, supportive housing, and community outreach. We've made important strides, but the scale of the crisis continues to grow. The demand for services is rising, and the resources are stretched thin. That's why a coordinated, community-based approach is not just important, it's essential. It's how we make real, lasting progress in the face of a growing need. So that's sad news that opioid death, overdose death is now the top killer in Sudbury among younger Sudburyans. You know, you think of your young people today, and that's not a statistic you want attached to your young people of any city. How it got there, just you have to ask yourself, how did it get there? Like, how did we arrive at the place we're at right now? Like, why are we in this position? Why is overdose now the top killer among our young people in Sudbury? Right? That's pretty sad. And it just shows a bit of a breakdown in our society, a huge breakdown in our society. And this is something that Miles pointed out the other day. It's like, it seems like the policies that have been made and the road we're going down, even though we're told it's for our good, are actually having the opposite effect, whether it's financially, whether it's with the drug problem, the livability with the, can't afford a house, can't afford groceries, inflation through the roof, drugs, people dying from drugs all over the place, homelessness, people experiencing homelessness, intimate partner violence, you name it. Things have been, not on the up and up kind of thing, right? And this is a great time to take a shot at organizations that are out there to actually help these people, meaning people that struggle. And religious organizations have always filled in a gap for society. They're the ones who go above and beyond without really any funding from the government. They just go and do initiatives themselves. They do things because their own members fund their projects that they do, right? So you find a lot of churches that do soup kitchens that get together and make kits for people that survival kits that have underarm deodorant and toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that. Clothing, they do clothing drives. They do all kinds of things just organically with their members. But now you have the liberals. Miles pointed this out on the show a little bit ago, but I found a video of somebody explaining it a little bit more. They want to take away religion's charitable statuses so that way they can tax them just like a company, instead of recognizing that they're charities and they do a lot of good for our society. It just seems counterintuitive to a large degree of why they would do that. Anyways, but we'll just check in here. We'll see what the liberals are planning on doing, and not sure why it hasn't become a huge, topic for this election, but it is what it is.
Before, because I covered it. I take no credit for it. Someone put it forward to me and I actually didn't believe it. Watch this. This here is Canada's biggest issue. The loss of charitable status for religious organizations. Yes, this is what the Liberal Party has proposed. Watch this. This is from Statistics Canada. Over 2/3 of the Canadian population have reported having a religious affiliation. Of that 68%, nearly 63% are Christian, and then you see all the other ones here. But wait, potential loss of charitable status for religious charities might be the biggest sleeper issue in the federal election. The Liberal government proposed the change and only the Conservatives opposed it. In the House of Commons last December, there was a 300-page report that included the recommendation no longer providing charitable status to religious organizations. It shocked religious charities, which comprise 40% of the 85,000 charities we have in Canada. This is absolutely crazy. The loss of the charitable status would have devastating effect on the organizations involved. Their income would be taxed and they would lose exemptions for the GST, Where applicable, they would also lose the ability to issue donation receipts. Unbelievable. There was a think tank that actually released a report that cited so many benefits of religious congregations, such as providing space, often at cheap rates for events. They also house programs and services such as addiction recovery, counseling, mental health services, childcare, refugee sponsorship, and resettlement services. Here's the thing. The halo effect of the socioeconomic impact of these congregations was found to be 10.4 times the value of the tax exemptions received, including property, GST, and income taxes. Even after such exemptions are considered, the net positive contribution was found to be $16.5 billion. If the halo effect declined by 10%, the loss of tax exemption would accomplish no benefit to society, socioeconomically speaking, since the tax revenue that came with it would be entirely offset by the halo effect decline. Did you know that I'm a product of these charities? Seriously, my family, our first home when we came to Canada was a shelter home. We were there for nearly 2 months until we were sponsored by a church in Oakville that helped get my parents get a job. That's how we got started in this country. It was the decency of Canadians with their after-tax dollars, with their network that helped my parents get established in the country. And now they want to take that away from us? It doesn't matter what religion you are, this affects us all. The Liberals see us all, including charities, as tax donkeys. Please keep in mind, these charities exist to fill the gap of their failures from a policy perspective with our after-tax dollars. Unbelievable. What I'm about to show you, you've never seen before because no one's ever covered it. I take no credit for it. Someone put it forward to me, and I actually didn't believe it.
So I echo his sentiment about the religions, basically, as charitable organizations. They do fill in many gaps that large government has a tendency and always has historically tried to make one-size-fits-all Band-Aid approaches to problems, where communities are very diverse. One community, although they do share similarities, they have their own issues and need to deal with their issues in their own ways. And that's where religions fill in the gap where each community has specific needs that are unique to those communities. They're the people who live in the communities. They're volunteers, mainly volunteers. They're good people who volunteer their time to find needs in the community and help out. And so the charitable status is there because they are indeed a charity. They're just there to do good. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. And so by losing the charitable status, it's going to cut them off at the knees and make it a lot harder for them to function and to do what they've historically done. And like he said, the return on the investment is incremental. There's no reason. They did the research on this, and there's no reason why they need to be doing it. It's counterproductive for the country. It's an attack on religion in our country. The Conservatives were the only ones who voted against the bill. So I guess if that gives you an indication of, who you would want to vote for based even just on that particular issue, which is huge. If you go to church yourself and you ask yourself, how would things be differently if your particular organization lost its charitable status? How would things be for that in that regard? You have to decide for yourself if that's something that you can support or not, or do you support that, right? And there's so many issues on the table for this election. It's one of the most important elections, if not the most important election. And again, a lot of people say it doesn't matter who you vote for. You're either going to get to the same place soft and slowly or fast hard and fast or over time, it's all going to end up in the same place, and they may be right. But at the same time, all you can do is stand up for correct principles and principles that are in the best interest of you and your fellow country person. So hopefully we know what those are. We want our country to be thriving. And historically, we know what made this country great. And that's what conservatism really is. It's to keep things that are foundationally correct. Don't change them, but build on them. Build on a foundation. That's what conservatism is. You know what's good, so you keep it. You're conservative. Whereas the opposite is liberal and progressive. You just want to try new things. You want to change the game. You want to try things out. You want to be progressive. And a lot of times you'll throw fundamentally foundational principles that work out. It's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And then you got to start all over again with things. It's like tearing down your house just because you want a new bathroom. You tear down the whole house. And then when you build your new house again, you'll have a new bathroom, but it doesn't make any sense. Why can't you just renovate your bathroom? Why do you have to tear down the whole house? Anyways, that's all we got time for today. We appreciate you guys being on. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for listening. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. And remember, stay aware, like, share, take care. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Stay safe. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.